Nambiar. People often use the terms health and wellness interchangeably. Although a person cannot have one and not the other, they are two different concepts that are quite variable and their meanings are very, very different. We have with us Mr. Rajiv Nambiar. Mr. Rajiv Nambiar is an engineer by education and holds a master's degree in yoga, a media and a PR professional with history of achieving strategic business goals and enhancing system functionality with a focus on team building, communications, emerging technologies, and digital trends. An engineer by qualification, the media bug bit him, and there started his journey into the exploration of his life within and out. After being a part of a successful fashion magazine, Layer Facial, he moved to work in Reliance Industries and 2020 Media. He has been on the advisory boards on a few startups focusing on branding, design, and communication. He was one of the founders of Aranyam Trust, which used to bring out an annual environment film festival. He has been a part of the organizing committee of several prestigious conferences like Security Byte and Uncommon Sense Wellness. He believes that humanness and personal connectedness are the only reason he has a strong and happy team. He has inspired, nurtured, and impacted the lives of thousands in his journey so far, yet feels like a constant learner. To him, excellence has nothing to do with power, money, or success. It has to do with what one can do with time, situation, zeal, and energy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to have with us Mr. Rajiv Nambiar, who will take us through health and wellness, which is a need of the hour during these trying pandemic days. Over to Mr. Rajiv Nambiar. Mr. Rajiv, are you there?
Am I audible now? Sorry, I think I'll.
Slightly, sir.
One second.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry about that. The slide gets the. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Usha, for that wonderful introduction. Like you were saying, yeah, nothing's more important today than health, and health and wellness gets interchangeably used every time. But when so those who are not on the video, if you can switch on the videos, if your network's good, it would be a good idea to switch on the videos. If you can't switch on, if you can't switch on the videos, then maybe you could use the chat box to communicate. So you would prefer an interactive session, right? Would you prefer an interactive session rather than me delivering a lecture and you hearing it? I prefer an interactive session. Yeah. So for us to have an interactive session, it would be a good idea if you could, if not on the video, at least you could chat, use the chat box to chat, or else what you can do is you can unmute yourself, ask a question, chat, and then go back to muting yourself. That way it would help. Yeah. Thank you so much and a very good afternoon to all.
Mr. Rajiv, we can take the questions after your session, or you want?
Sure. So we will take the questions.
Yeah,
I will have some interactive bits. The major questions will take 15 minutes at the end.
Okay, yeah? Okay, Mr. Rajiv. Okay. Yeah.
So let us first understand what is health. So can you have some answers? Anybody wants to talk about this? Yeah, a quick one.
The well-being of a person.
Health is happiness.
Well-being of a person.
Health is happiness. All right. Okay. What else?
Well-being of a person.
Well-being. All right. Okay. Yeah. What else?
Prepared by.
Health is peace of mind. Okay. Some Gokul says peace of mind. Yeah. What else?
Health is wealth.
Health is wealth. Okay.
Every
it is
part
one
of your body,
for sure.
Every part of your body works as it's supposed to be.
Every part of the body works to its optimum. All right. Absence of disease. Okay. So basically, most of us know the definition of health. I mean, today we have started defining health in terms of peace, well-being, happiness, and all those things. Health is not a mere absence of disease. Health is the optimum functionality of your body at the time and age that you are living in. So if you look at your body, it grows from a certain time. Between 10 and 20, you might have the maximum growth. After 30, most of the growth in your body stops. Then it is just a receding phase, or you have to maintain it. That is what happens with your body most of the time. So if you look at even today, the most important thing that we speak about, which is called the lung power, which is very extremely essential in these times of the pandemic. So from 20 to 30, you find it at its maximum. And after 30, you find that the lung power starts receding with each year. So it is very important for each one of us to ensure that the optimum is maintained for a long period of time. That is why these exercises, that is why to look at the mind, that is why to maintain the right amount of sleep, that is why the breath works. Focusing on the breath is of primary and paramount importance. Do you have any idea how big is the size of your lungs? How big is your size of the lung? Yeah, anybody? Yeah, you can. It doesn't have to be the right answer. The idea is we'll have a very cordial discussion. It is a very informal discussion so that it becomes easy for everybody to. Any answers?
3 liters.
Both the palms, size of both your palms.
Size of both your palms, 3 liters. Okay, both of them are interesting answers. Okay, what else? You know, if you actually were to open up your lungs and really open up, including the alveoli, everything open up, it would be the size of almost a tennis court. And we are using only 30% of our lung capacity. And 70% of all toxins in the body can be thrown out by way of breath. But we are using only 30% of the lung capacity. So that is where breath plays a vital role. Today, if you look at the papers that have been come out in the last few months of the pandemic, there is a lot of focus on breath, lot of focus on what causes the lung capacity to reduce. One is which age it deteriorates. There are certain things that cause the lung capacity to deteriorate. Are you aware of that, what it is? And what helps to improve the lung capacity? Yeah.
Smoking deteriorates and pranayama helps to increase.
Okay, so the breathing helps to increase. Another thing that also reduces the lung capacity is anger. Anger and hostility actually compromise the lung function and hasten the decline of the lung power. This is an article in the British Medical Journal which talks about this. You can probably read that out. So the breath really helps to improve the lung capacity. So we will today focus on a couple of breathing exercises which can help in two ways. One is to reduce the anger, reduce the anxiety, and also to increase the lung capacity. Second thing is high intensity workouts. So if ever you want to improve the lung capacity, what is important is high intensity. High intensity means you just maybe have a quick sprint for about 30 seconds, then wait for the breath to cool down, maybe 30 seconds or 1 minute till you get your breath back, and then again do it for 30 seconds. So maybe a 6 to 7 rounds of that will really help to expand the lungs. So that is something that you should look at, because the lung elasticity needs to improve. The function of the diaphragm needs to improve, and the right kind of posture. If you start moving, arching too much, that also doesn't help. Eat a diet that is rich in protein. Eat raw vegetables and get the right amount of multivitamins like beta carotene, selenium, all these things, A, C, E, all these things can get improved by compensation of the right kind of food. So today, one is improving the lung capacity by looking at the breath. We will look at breath and then how the mind has an impact on the body. You know, there is a science which says that even before a disease manifests in the body, it first takes its roots in the mind. So if you look at the mind and are able to deal with it at the level of the mind, then it may not get manifested or maybe not manifest with that aggressiveness. Many of the lifestyle diseases that we deal with today are all to do with the mind. So let us understand what this mind is. What do you think the mind is? What is your understanding of the mind? What is the mind? Yeah, can I have some answers, please? Yeah. What do you think the mind is? Mind is thoughts, okay? That Shruti says it's thoughts. What else? We have always learned that manage your mind, take care of your mind, deal with your mind. So we've heard this many times, but what exactly is this mind?
Two aspects, sir. Brain, one is mind and another one is intellect. Mind, various thoughts appear in mind and intellect decides on the
Okay.
action.
So good explanation that you gave. Intellect is another, you know, if you look at ourselves, we exist in several levels. You know, at one level, we exist in the level of the body. At another level, we exist in the level of the mind. Okay. We also exist in the level of the intellect. Okay? You have the body, you exist in the level of the breath, you exist in the level of the mind, you exist in the level of the intellect. No? And then you also exist in the level of your memory and ego. So what is the mind? Intellect is another factor. So sometimes when you think, okay, I have a thought right now to go and eat some food, that has come in the mind. But then the intellect comes in and says that you just had your lunch an hour back. Eating that right now would not be a good idea. So if you listen to the intellect, you might not go with your mind. But most of the time, what happens is we get stuck in the level of the mind and listen to the mind more often. Okay. So mind and intellect are two different things. So what is your understanding? What is the mind? What according to you is the mind? Mind is consciousness, says Richard. Mind is the mental state. Okay. Controller of doings. Okay. Controller of doings to some level, yes.
If I could use a metaphor,
Yeah.
if CPU is the head and mind can be the software.
Okay, the mind is the software. So
Mind is
then
the thought
where
process.
does the intellect come?
Mind is the thought process.
Where does the intellect come? If the software, I like your metaphor, but what is the role of the intellect here?
No, you are separating
control
it
panel
both.
for
I am
body?
not separating it.
Oh, you are not separating it. Okay, okay. So there is a separation because intellectually, suppose, okay, I'll give you an understanding of it. Because you have done some things in the past, you have learned from your experience to do X and Y thing is not good. Suppose immediately after a meal to have a tea is not good. I'm just giving an arbitrary example. Okay. So intellectually you have figured out that that's not a good thing to do. Okay. So, but the thought comes immediately after lunch or a dinner, I want to have a tea. Now, the moment the intellect kicks in, it says, no, that's not a good thing to do. You are able to sort of pacify the mind and not do the activity of the mind. That is why I separated the mind and the intellect here.
Thought process. Mind is the thought process.
So mind is a thought process. That's a good thing. Okay. What else? And where is the mind? Where do you think the mind is?
Sir, I practice Vipassana and I feel the mind is not just in your head, it is all over your body in every cell. Because when I do that practice, I can realize it is in every cell.
It's within. It's within you.
It's within you. Manikantanji says it
Every
is
part of the
outside.
body is
It is
controlled.
It's everywhere.
Okay.
inside
okay.
your body.
Manikantanji says it is inside the body and everywhere. Some people say it is within you. What else? What else are the answers? I mean, this
Every
is like
part of the
a
body
journey of
connected.
exploration.
Every body is connected through a
Every-
chain process.
Okay. Okay. What else? What else? I mean, just let's throw the answers one after the other. Whatever comes in your mind.
It is the seat of all emotions, instincts.
Mind is the seat of all instincts and emotions. Yeah, emotions are caused due to the mind as well. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What else?
It is left side of the head.
It is on the left side of the head. Okay. So, Dr. Neeraj, it is on the left side of the head. Okay. So, many a times what happens if you if you ever gone, I mean, if remember the days you were in school, you sat in a lecture or a college and you sat in a lecture, a professor came and delivered a lecture. And after 45 minutes of the lecture, you did not remember one thing that was said. Or you did not, if somebody asked you, what did the professor speak? You said, I don't know. Have you experienced that? Has anybody experienced that? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You were in a class, your ears don't have flap, but still you didn't hear anything of what happened in that 45 minutes of a lecture. Isn't it?
There's difference between
It's true.
hearing
Correct.
and
Why
listening.
did it happen?
You are lost in somewhere.
You are lost somewhere, which means the mind.
Lost in somewhere.
Okay, you're lost in somewhere. Okay, what else?
Somewhere.
Because we
Body
we are
present,
not
mind absent.
listening.
Body present, mind absent. Very interesting. Very nice. If your body, breath, and mind is in the same place, then only I would consider that you are present.
Correct.
Exactly.
Body and breath is there for the attendance sake that the participant or the student is sitting in the class, but the mind is wandering in somewhere else, some other works with some friends, then the person is not present.
Yes.
So we often tend to think that the mind is within the body, but the body is encompassed by the mind. Mind can be inside the body, it can be outside as well. It's a worth thought thinking about. So all our problems and worries in life are because the mind is constantly vacillating between the past and the future.
Exactly.
So in this very moment, you cannot be unhappy. This very moment, you cannot be unhappy. No? So when the mind goes into the past, the memory, or the mind goes into the future, that is where all the problems are. When the mind goes into the past, what kind of emotions do you experience? What are the emotions that you experience?
Sometimes feeling good, sometimes we feel bad.
Okay, so sometimes feeling good is what?
Whatever happened in the good, whatever happened
There
good.
might be glorification of the
Yes.
past.
Yes.
Yes, there might be anger or regret about the past.
Yes. Some sad thing happened in the life.
Correct. So there is anger, regret, sadness,
Yes,
glorification.
I lost
of
my
the
son.
past.
So I always
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. So what happens when the mind goes into the future? What are the
Anxiety.
emotions? Anxiety. So when the mind goes into the future, there is fear and anxiety. When the mind goes into the past, there is uncertainty. Yeah. So when the mind goes into the past, there is anger, regret, or glorification of the past. When the mind goes into the future, there is fear and anxiety, mostly the emotions. So think of a mind which is constantly vacillating between glorification, anger, regret, and anxiety and fear. So the mind that is constantly vacillating between these two poles of the past and the future spoils this very moment. Life is here in this very moment.
Exactly.
And that vacillation of the mind is what causes all stress in the life. It is like you got a burger to eat, and suddenly a phone call came. So you had got a hot burger, you kept it in the refrigerator. After a while, you feel like eating the burger. You take it out and put it into the microwave and heat it up. In between, another call comes. Or you leave the burger again cools off. You keep it back in the refrigerator. Again, after a while, you feel like eating it. Then you got caught up in something. You put it back into the refrigerator. What happens to the burger that goes between a refrigerator and a microwave several times?
It lost its
dies.
freshness.
Lost its
its
freshness.
energy.
It might even get spoiled.
It's dead.
And this is exactly what we are doing to ourselves. By the mind constantly vacillating between the past and the future, this is exactly what we are doing. And this is the cause of all stress in our life. If we understand this, then we are able to eliminate it. No, this is the cause of all the stress in the life. I mean, is worry going to change the present moment? Is your worrying that how will this happen going to change the present moment? No.
No, not at all.
But because we keep questioning the present moment all the time. But is your questioning the present moment going to change the present moment? This is how it is. Okay, why is this pandemic there? Why am I in a lockdown? Why am I not teaching in a normal college? Why have I got to do online? What is the point? This is how it is. The moment you realize that this is how it is, and there is an active acceptance within you, then you are ready to do the next steps. All the problem in your life is because of worry, which is not going to change anything. Most of the diseases in your life are because of the worry, which is neither helping you nor helping your body. So it is good to look at and understand this whole mechanism of the mind. If somebody told you 10 good things and told you one bad thing, okay, gave you 10 compliments and told you something bad, what would you remember after 5 years of seeing that person?
Bad part.
Do you see that? It happens to everybody, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So understanding that this is the nature of the mind will help you to go beyond that. The nature of the mind is to hold on to negative. When you know that, oh, this is the nature of the mind, let me not pay too much attention to it, then you will not get affected by it.
Correct.
So that is what it is. So you have to understand the mind. You have to decipher what happens. The mind is like a monkey, and there is no way you can deal with the mind at the level of the mind. If I say right now, I want to sleep, I want to sleep, I want to sleep, saying 100 times, I want to sleep, will I get sleep? You won't get sleep. So at the level of the mind, you can't deal with the mind. You can deal with the mind with something more intangible. Mind is very intangible. You need something more tangible to deal with the mind. And what is the tangible thing that can help you to deal with the mind? That is your breath. You know, when you're angry, how is your breath? Have you ever observed when you're angry, how is your breath?
Fast.
Heavy.
Heavy.
So you
Fast.
have an emotion of anger and your breath is
What's the
really
question?
raising fast, right?
Yeah.
When you're angry, your breath is really raising fast.
Yes.
So if you alter the pattern of the breath, do you think that anger can be controlled?
Yes.
Yeah, that is why as children we have heard, no? When you are angry, count down from 10. When you count down from 10, what happens? 10, 9, 8, 6, 7. When you count
Control your
down,
breath,
automatically the breath has altered its pattern. And that also brings a shift in the emotion.
That's why I said cool down.
Yeah, so that is what helps. So the breath is a tool to deal with the mind. People who experience extreme anxiety, you can use breath as a tool to deal with the mind. You want to experience one small breathing technique that will help you deal with it? Yes, no? I can show you one technique that could help you to deal with anxious situations. Yeah? Yes, if everybody says, then I can show you the technique.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
to learn this technique, there are certain rules. Certain rules are, first you have to find a place to sit where you are sitting erect, not slouching, not like in a relaxed position. You have to sit straight, sit erect with your spine erect. Okay. And whenever you are doing any breathing things, your metabolism changes. So it's a good idea to close your eyes so that you are not distracted by what is happening around you. Are we all ready to do that? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what we will do is we will do this. You would have seen children do very often. You know, you give somebody a drink, a child something to drink, a juice or something like that, and give them a straw. What do?
They'll enjoy.
But okay, of course they will enjoy. What else?
Blow the straw. They blow it.
They
That's
blow
true, correct.
into the straw. Correct.
Straw.
And they make that bubbles. They are enjoying the bubbles.
Yes.
They blow into the straw. So what we are going to do is this breathing technique is also similar. This breathing technique is also similar. Here what you are going to do is you are breathing in through the nostril, and as you breathe out, you purse your lips.
Okay.
But this breathing out or the exhalation, you should elongate it as long as you can. Some people can do it for 10
Yes.
seconds, some people for 30 seconds. You will do
Elongate.
this for some time. Okay. Elongate the breathing out, the exhalation for as long as possible.
Once
Okay.
more.
Are we ready to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Once
We
more.
will all do about 8 or 9 rounds of breathing. Breathing in through the nostrils, pursing the lips, and exhaling. Okay. Let's
Okay.
close our eyes and start doing it. Let's all close our eyes and start doing it. Breathe in and breathe out. And do it by yourself. Long, deep exhalations. Continue breathing. Deep inhalation and longer and deeper exhalations. Continue breathing. And once you have completed your round, you can just keep your eyes closed and sit for some time till the others finish. After this round, you may relax. Slowly open your eyes. How was it?
Wonderful.
Enjoy.
Invigorating.
Invigorating. Okay. What
Fresh.
else? Anybody
Fresh.
else? Fresh.
Freshness.
Simple breathing techniques. What happens is the mind wants everything very, very complicated. It hardly pays attention to something that is simply available. All through our life, we have been told, deal with the mind, take care of the mind, mind your mind. But nobody ever taught us, neither in school or in college or any other place, were we ever taught how to deal with this mind. Nobody ever told us that breath can be used as a tool to deal with the emotions. So what I'm saying is, use this whenever you are feeling anxious. So this particular breathing technique that I taught you just now, called the straw breath or the pursed lip breathing, can be used whenever you are feeling anxious, whenever you are feeling low on energy, you can use this pursed lip breathing. Okay. So use this technique, and every time, even otherwise, whenever you find time in a day, 5-6 times in a day, get out of your chair, get out of where you are sitting, take long, deep breaths. Very, very important to take long, deep breaths. So when you take long, deep breaths, how's your breathing? So I want you to keep your hands on your stomach, breathe in and breathe out. And let me know what happens when you breathe in. Does the stomach expand or contract as you breathe in? As you breathe in, what happens? Stomach expands or contracts?
Expand.
Okay, how many of us expands? How many of us contract?
Expands.
Okay,
Expands.
okay. Is there anybody whose stomach is contracting or nothing happening?
Contracting.
Contract.
Contracting.
Okay, contracting. All right.
Contracting.
Contracting. Okay. So I don't have the answers of all the class, but I'm seeing that in equal number of people, the stomach is expanding, and almost an equal number of people. I mean, I'm just interpolating to 5-6 people who have said yes, this side and that side. Contracting and expanding. What should actually happen?
Contract one.
Expand.
Expand.
No, it should contract.
Expand.
I have opened up a fight here in the group. Okay. What should happen? Because this is subjective experience. This is happening to you. It's not something out of theory. So what should happen?
When you take in air, taking in air, so it should expand.
So you are
It should
taking
expand.
air into the
Lungs.
lungs. It is not going to the stomach. So why should it expand or contract or whatever?
Because your diaphragm moves.
Very nice. Very nice. So as you breathe in, your lungs expand, your diaphragm pushes the stomach out. That is why your stomach should expand. So all the people whose stomach is contracting, from now on, just make a conscious effort to expand the stomach as you breathe in. Do it for a day or so. From tomorrow, it will automatically get corrected. Okay, all those who could not expand, whose stomach was contracting while they were breathing in, just try to expand the stomach as you are breathing in. I'll give you 2 minutes so that see if it's happening or not happening.
Actually, normal breathing, it is expanding.
Okay.
Well, I think we are consciously trying to either contract or expand.
No. Try to consciously expand the stomach as you breathe in.
Yeah, normally it is happening. It is expanding only when you just do it.
Okay, that is happening for you, sir. But I'm telling the people whom it is contracting, for them to now correct that thing right now. Breathing is very important. Sometimes, you feel amazing after a workout, or you feel a sense of high when you have had a jog or a run. You know why it happens? It happens because of something called neurochemicals called endorphins. So what is the meaning of the word endorphin? Endorphin means endogenous, something that is internal to you, and morphine. Morphine is just, it's like an opiate for pain reliever. So when endorphins are released, it somehow relieves pain and it boosts pleasure. So long, deep breathing exercises help to increase the endorphins. These are called happy hormones. It helps to alleviate depression. It helps to boost your self-esteem. It even helps to reduce weight. It's very important, you know. And many a times when the mind is not in the right space, when you have not been able to meditate or not been able to breathe properly, something called cortisol is released. And cortisol are stress hormones. You need cortisol for meeting the daily challenges in life, without which you will not even have motivation. But too much of it creates problem. You might even get insomnia. You might get joint pain. So these are some things that can be relieved by way of breath. Like I said at the beginning, reducing your anger, eating the right kind of fruits and vegetables, eating food on time. It is very important to eat on time. The body has something called a circadian rhythm. Many of us these days spend so much time in front of the computers, spend so much time in front with mobile devices. Many of the times we are actually typing on a mobile and go off to sleep. Does it happen to people? It happens more to you than many of us, but it happens to a lot of people. You know, you have to make your body used to a certain rhythm, and there is a circadian rhythm. You know, at the end of the day, if you look at all creatures in this planet except for human beings, by the time it is dusk, by the time it is night, they've all gone off to sleep. And early morning, you hear the sounding and the chirping of the birds because they are in alignment with nature. Most of our problems are because we are not in alignment with nature. We do not follow a circadian rhythm. The sun rises and sets. When the sun sets and it is time to sleep, you should go off to sleep. Sleeping at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. is not helping your body. So it is a good idea to sleep by 10:30, 11 at least, go off to sleep, wake up early. That really helps because you are then in alignment with nature. And then eating the right kind of fruits and vegetables. So if whatever fruit and vegetable grows in your place, in the place that you are living, right now is apt for the weather that is there in this place. Right now, if you eat fruits and vegetables that are imported from New Zealand or California, that is not right for your body. You know, wherever you are living, eat that local vegetable and fruit because that is growing according to the season. So there is a certain harmony in nature, and you have to start aligning yourself with the harmony. Most of the problems in your life is because you are not in alignment in harmony with nature. That is why all this stress in life. What is stress? Stress simply means too much to do, too little time, and no energy. That is all the simple definition of stress. The too much to do is not going to reduce. The world that we are living in, too much to do is not going to reduce, right? Too little time, time is constant for everybody. It is not more for you or less for somebody else. That is also not going to change. What needs to change is the energy. The only thing that you can do is to build your capacity, to increase energy. The energy can be increased by 4 sources. One is through the food, eating the right kind of food. Eating too much junk food doesn't help. Eating too much spicy and fried food is not. Eat, okay. We're not saying that today's world you can live a life which is okay, which is grown here in my garden only. I will eat only fresh. Not possible. But in moderation, it's important for you to eat the right kind of food. Then, second is the right amount of sleep. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is good enough, but at the right time, not at sleeping at 5 a.m. in the morning and getting up at 11 and saying that I have slept for 6 hours. That doesn't help. Sleeping at the right time. Because you have seen, no, if you have not slept for a couple of days, what happens? You feel very drained. If you have overslept on a Sunday, how do you feel? Then also there is lethargy and inertia, isn't it? So the right amount of sleep is important. And then third important thing is breathing. Breath is very, very vital because after 30, your lung capacity is reducing with every single day unless you are able to retain it through not being angry, through meditation, through breath, through eating the right kind of diet. You have to maintain certain things post 30. Otherwise, it starts diminishing. So that is why if you get a fever or if you get even a pneumonia at 30, 40, in 2 days you're out of it, no problems. But the same thing when you get at 65, you'll end up in the hospital. Isn't it? Because the lungs capacity has reduced. So it is important for all of us to do some breathing exercises. And today at this time, it is of even more paramount importance to look at breath and meditation. So the food is the first source of energy. Second is sleep. Third is breath. And fourth is to have a calm and meditative mind. A mind without agitation. How can you have a calm and meditative mind? That is by practicing these techniques and also using yoga and meditation. What is meditation? What according to you is meditation?
Focusing one's mind.
Okay, what else? Focusing one's mind. Okay, what else?
Keeping calm while.
Okay, what else? You can throw random answers. It doesn't have to be right, wrong, and maybe what I'm saying is not the exact thing also. But that's okay.
Syncing mind, body, and soul.
Syncing the mind, body, and soul.
Body.
That is yoga. Yeah.
Complete concentration.
Meditation is a little more deeper than that.
Complete concentration.
Concentration is not meditation. Concentration is an effect of meditation. The outcome of meditation is concentration. When you are in a calm and meditative mind, your mind is more focused and your concentration is also much deeper.
Meditation, there is no other, no thoughts at all at that stage.
Meditation, that a mind without thoughts is meditation. Okay.
It is an art of making.
Sorry?
Focusing deep inside. Sir.
Focusing deep inside. Yeah. Okay. Focusing deep inside. No, I will give you an even. Yeah. Sorry. Dr. Neeraj, go ahead.
Art. Yeah, it is an art of making ageless body a timeless mind.
What body and mind?
It is an art. Medication is an art of making ageless body and timeless mind.
Ageless body and timeless mind. Okay. Okay. Good explanation. Okay. What else?
To be in a state without emotions.
To be in a state without emotion. Okay. All right. Okay. What else?
It is a practice of syncing everything, like the mind, body, and the soul.
Syncing the body, breath, and the mind. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I will give a very simple explanation because we don't want to complicate this word called meditation. Meditation is the art of doing nothing. At the level of the body, you need to do everything with effort. If you have to build muscles, you have to go to the gym, lift weights, do all the things. At the level of the mind, effortlessness is the key. Absolutely zero effort. Do you want to try that out? I will take you through a small session, a 5-minute session. Do you want to do that?
Yes, why not?
Yeah. A 5-minute experience. Because these are all experiential things. There is no point me talking about it. It can go on and on, but it makes no sense. So what I will do in this process is, you have to do nothing for the next 5 minutes. For the next 5 minutes, just bear these 3 golden rules in mind. I am nothing, I want nothing, I do nothing. Only 3 golden rules. Okay? I want nothing, I do nothing, I am nothing. Just sit in the space and just be. Okay, no effort whatsoever. If I say take your attention to your eyes, you just take your attention to the eyes and don't see if your eyes are there. Keep your head there only. Oh, here my eyes are. No. You just take your attention to the eyes and let go again and relax. Okay, clear everybody? Okay, let's close our eyes. If we are able to dive a little deeper, this will be a very profound and interesting experience. Eyes closed. Take a normal breath in and breathe out. Incoming breath energizes the body and outgoing breath relaxes the body. With every outgoing breath, relax a little more. Every incoming breath is energizing the body and outgoing breath is relaxing the body. Long, deep inhalation and exhalation. Take your attention to your environment, your surroundings. Listen to all the noises in the environment. The sound of the birds, the fan in the room, the sound of the air conditioner, the closing of the doors, the honking on the street. Take your attention to all the noises in the environment. Be in harmony with all the noises. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Take your attention to your body. Take your attention to the right foot, right knee, right thigh and hip, the whole of your right leg. Take your attention to the left foot, left knee, left thigh and hip, the whole of your left leg. Take your attention to your genitals, abdomen, stomach, chest, your right arm, left arm, shoulders, neck, throat, face, the top of your head. This body is a beautiful gift given to you by God or divine. Honor and respect this body. Take a deep breath in and let go. Become aware of your thoughts. Good thoughts or bad thoughts. Let it come. Do not resist any thoughts. Now you are in harmony with your thoughts. Become aware of your feelings. Take a deep breath in and exhale. You are peace. You are love. Become aware of your feelings. Become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of your body and surrounding. And slowly and gradually, at your own pace, whenever you feel like, you may open your eyes. So how was it?
Refreshing.
Very refreshing, okay?
Sometimes felt like sleeping also.
Felt like?
Sleeping also.
Oh, very nice, okay? Relaxing, okay?
Mind at rest.
Mind at rest. So initially maybe some thoughts came, then suddenly thoughts went away, isn't it? For some people, thoughts must have come more. It's okay. You know, meditation is not complicated. Somehow everybody seems to make all these things very, very complicated. So just putting on some music, closing your eyes and just being there, one with what you are is also meditation. You don't just listening to some soothing music is meditation. A mind, if you can be thoughtless for some period of time like this, good. Otherwise, all the time you are in a circus of thoughts. And that's the moment. So the thing is, the moment you became a witness to your thought, then there is no urgency or a need for you to indulge in the thought, isn't it?
Yes.
Otherwise, you are constantly, the first thought came, you want to indulge.
Morning
first
till night,
thought
there is
came-
thought.
Yeah. The first thought came for you to do something, you want to immediately react to it. Can we just move from reaction to responding, even in our lives? That is what will make a huge difference. So today's key takeaways are important that you focus on your breath. Very important to focus on your breath in the times. I'll come to the questions. Yeah, I'll just focus on the breath. Second is, there is a way to deal with the mind, and to deal with the mind, you can use breath as a tool. Anger causes the lung capacity to reduce. Breathing, pranayama, meditation improves the endorphins in the body, these happy hormones, which help us to live better.
Once again, repeat it.
Breathing and meditations and pranayama help us to improve these happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, and that is what alleviates. Endorphins are something that get released when there is pain, to relieve the pain, right? So
Okay,
these meditations really help us. So sit for some time, 10 minutes in a day, just put on some music, doesn't have to be guided meditation. Just close your eyes and sit for 10 minutes. Do
Is
some
walking and
long, deep
meditation the
breaths.
same? Is meditation during walking also is possible?
No, meditation during walking is not possible, because walking is an activity, right? You have to, body has to become still. At the level of the body, there should be no movement. That is why you keep your spine erect and sit still. Can you sit still for 10 minutes? Reducing the anger is very important to improve the lung capacity, and also to reduce the deterioration of the lung. So it is very important. Yeah. So these are the few takeaways from this session. If you have any questions, now I can take it up. Thank you very much for a wonderful interactive session. Really loved the audience who have actually been very forthright in interacting. Yeah. There are any
Thanks,
questions
sir.
we can take? Yeah.
We also
thank
enjoyed. We also enjoyed the interactiveness with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah.
Some-
We don't
some-
need to change many things in life. We just need to make some lifestyle shifts, like sleeping on time, right amount of sleep, eating food which is locally grown. That will help us to get the nutrition that is required for this environment, this weather. Eating a fruit and vegetable which is grown in California or something where there is right now, where there is snowing, doesn't help in this hot weather for us. That balance you should bring. That is a regular intelligence that we need. Yes, madam. So sorry.
Yeah, can we take few questions?
Please,
Because
please,
we are
please.
running short of time.
Please, yeah.
So, yeah. Some tips on reducing tummy, please. Mr. Jitendra Das is asking.
Reducing tummy. First thing is eating the right. So I said that eating the right kind of food. Too much of food, after a certain age, it is way more difficult to reduce the tummy. So eating the right kind of food, following the exercises, improving the lung capacity, daily have that 40 minutes, 30 minutes of walk or exercise. Very, very important. And there are certain things everybody knows about it, doing some stomach crunches. There are a few asanas also that can help, but we will be short to discuss that. Probably we could take up a discussion at another time. But yeah, eating on time, eating the right kind of food, and working out is very important. A little bit of yoga, meditation, and breathing will really help. And there is something called Kapalbhati Pranayam. If you want to, that will also help, because it helps to tone the stomach muscles.
Yeah, the next question is from Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Gupta. Is there difference between meditation and dhyan?
Dr. Sanjeev, you have already said two different words. Meditation and dhyan, basically it is the Hindi word of it. One is in Hindi, one is in English, but both means the same. Dhyana is same as meditation. And the more you sit into meditation, the more deeper you get, you may go into much deeper states of consciousness.
Yes. The next question is from Professor Arjit Sen. Can we improve our eyesight or relax our eyes through yoga? If yes, then through which yoga? Please suggest, because we all are used to work on computers for a long period of time.
Okay. A couple of things that you can do while you're on the computer. Every half an hour, 45 minutes, get away from the computer and take a 5 to 10 minutes nap. Okay, don't keep watching the screen. Today's biggest problem with most people is because they're constantly on the screen, they do not blink. And because they do not blink, that the moisture in the eyes reduces. That is why most people have a problem with putting some eye drops to improve the moisture, because the moisture content is completely gone because the eyes are not constantly blinking. So every 45 minutes, get off the computer, go for a walk, keep blinking. What you can do to improve the vision is look at some object which is close to you and look at an object that is far away from you. And then again, look at an object close to you and look at an object far away from you. We don't tend to look far these days. We are looking at probably in our room. So maybe in your balcony, in your terrace, look at something very close at a distance and then look at something far. Keep doing that. That will help. And then also it is important to do some eye exercises, as in looking up. I mean, keeping your vision straight, look up, look down, look left, look right, then rotating the eyes. So it pulls the nerves, no? So that also helps. So that is important to do. These things help.
Yes, Mr. Rajiv, just the last one, I will take this question. What is the difference between yoga and power yoga? What to practice?
So I mean, these are all coinages that have come in the new age. There is no difference between yoga and power yoga, because yoga, so these days they have mixed yoga with exercises to make it a little more intense, because we think that anything that is giving too much pressure to us is something that is working. So that is just a new coinage for people to want to become yoga enthusiasts. Yoga, basically, the proponent of yoga, Patanjali, says that Stiram Sukham Asanam. Anything that you can remain steady and you are in comfort, that is the asana. You don't have to look at your neighbor, look at somebody who is doing very difficult postures. Not necessarily only that is yoga. Even what you do, if you are in that posture and if you are comfortable and if you are steady, then that is yoga.
Thank you, Mr. Rajiv.
Thank you,
it was
Dr.
an
Usha.
extraordinary session. It was an extraordinary session. I think the people have enjoyed it. I can see the comment box.
Probably was the
chat.
best of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Usha. Thank you for this lovely audience who have been very interactive, and that I started off talking about something else, and then I just took what came from the audience and moved forward.
Yes.
So it was lovely interacting with all of you.
Yeah, this session, I think, which will positively make the audience think and adopt the measures suggested by you now to stay healthy forever. Yeah. Yes.
Any suggestions for the present during the present COVID times?
So the per slip. So I will tell you one more thing, because you have asked me presently for the COVID times, and I cannot resist because people are so much in pain. Dr. Usha, I'll take 2 more minutes to explain one more technique which has really helped people.
Okay.
So one more technique that has helped people during this one is the per slip breathing. Keep doing it. It's very important. And second thing is something called in the yoga, something called a Brahmari Pranayam. It is basically a humming sound that you create as you breathe out. As you breathe out, you just create that humming bumblebee sound, a low pitch sound. You can do this for a couple of times in a day. This Brahmari Pranayam has been found to be very effective during these COVID times.
Do we need to put our finger on one of the noses while you're doing Brahmari?
No, there are many methods of doing. There is this way to do, there is this way to do. I would say a simple sound resonance is good enough right now. For this specific to COVID, the sound resonance is good enough. So you do 8 or 9 rounds of Brahmari Pranayam, or this humming sound, which is this is one time. 8 or 9 times twice in a day. What it does is it increases the nitric oxide in the lungs. In the sinonasal cavity and in the lungs, it increases the nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is what helps to put less pressure on the heart, and also sort of increases the oxygen and exchange of gases more seamlessly. So this is something that you can do in the present times. And also Brahmari is found to reduce a lot of tension and also reduce anxiety in people. These two breathing techniques that I taught you is good enough right now. Maybe some other time, if your college has some time, we can have a session and at length look at something else.
How long should a Brahmari pranayama?
8 or 9 rounds of Brahmari is good enough. Maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Don't have to keep on doing it. 2 to 3 minutes. Even the purse sleep breathing, not more than 3 minutes. That is good enough. 3 minutes of this, 3 minutes of that is good enough. Maybe twice in a day. Okay. Yeah, that would help.
So I think there's one interesting question. I think I will take just one.
Okay, Dr.
Ask.
Yeah.
Dr. G. Saravana Kumar is asking, sir, sometimes someone criticizes on us negatively and we cannot stop the person, but this causes stress to mind. How to overcome this stress?
Okay, I will tell you one. Somebody criticizes you. What happens to you? When somebody is criticizing you, there is something that is happening inside you. There is a contraction that is happening inside you. Have you noticed? Something in you contracts. And that something that is contracting is nothing but the ego. You see the expansion and the contraction of the ego. When somebody criticizes you, the best way to deal with criticism is humor. There is no other best method. Because the person who criticizes you will criticize and go away, and for the rest of the 2 days, your body, your mind, you are in pain, you are in trauma. He is merrily laughing and enjoying himself. Is it worth doing it?
Thanks a lot.
The
Yes.
emotion is happening inside you. So it is an intelligent thing to laugh and let go.
We are reacting to what's been criticized.
Yeah, humor is the best tool. When somebody criticizes you, use humor as a tool to tie over it. That way your mind and your ego is also feeling a little pacified.
Thank you,
So,
Mr.
we are reacting to it.
We can close it. Thanks a lot, Mr. Rajiv, for this wonderful session.
Thank you
Yes,
so
we
much.
really
everybody.
enjoyed it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Sir Rajiv.
Yes, being the end of all the sessions of a FDP, it's a relaxing one. I think so. Everybody relaxed and enjoyed thoroughly your session. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Once
you so
again.
much.